You know those receipts that just pile up in your wallet or your inbox? We all have them. But what if every single one of those flimsy pieces of paper was actually a key to unlocking a piece of the digital economy? Well, that is the fascinating and super simple idea behind a concept called Crinkle. And here's the whole idea, boiled down to its absolute core. You snap a picture of a receipt, and you get Bitcoin. That's it. It sounds simple, right? Maybe even a little too good to be true. But it's all about taking something we do every day and connecting it to a cutting-edge digital asset.
But this is where it gets really interesting. Because behind that simple action, there is a massive, multi-layered strategy. So how in the world does just snapping a receipt unlock a billion-dollar vision? Let's dive in and unpack it.
So first up, let's talk about the simple promise Crinkle makes to you, the user. The whole point here is that this isn't about creating some new, complicated habit. It's about taking something we already do, collecting receipts, and turning it into something genuinely valuable. You see, the really clever part is that Crinkle isn't asking you to do anything new. I mean, millions of people are already scanning their receipts for cashback or for points. Crinkle just plugs right into that same habit, but it swaps out the usual boring rewards for a much more compelling incentive, a global digital currency. And this right here really gets to the heart of why most reward programs are so frustrating. We've all been there, right? You've got points that expire or rewards you can only use at one specific store. Well, Crinkle's model just flips that on its head, offering rewards that are permanent, that could actually grow in value, and that you can use anywhere. Now, the tech that makes this all possible is called on-chain rewards. It might sound a little technical, but the idea is actually super simple. Just think of it like a public, permanent receipt for your rewards. Once they're yours, they're yours. The company can't just take them back or change the rules on you. It's all about building trust through proof you can actually verify. So this creates a really clear win-win situation. For us, the consumers, we get rewards we can actually trust and use. And for the brands? Well, they're not just throwing marketing money into the wind anymore. They're paying for real, verifiable engagement and getting super valuable, real-time data in return. Okay, which brings us to the big question. If they're just giving away Bitcoin, how does the company actually make any money? This is where the business model gets really, really clever. The whole strategy is kind of built like a three-layer cake. It starts with us, the consumers. The Bitcoin rewards get you in the door and keep you scanning. Then comes that brand layer, where the money really starts to flow. Brands pay for access to all that verified consumer activity. But the final layer, the most ambitious one, is the data infrastructure itself. They want to package up all that anonymized data and turn it into a brand new, verifiable digital asset. And as you can see, this isn't a one-trick pony. The plan is to have revenue flowing in from multiple streams. Those brand partnerships, licensing the data, transaction fees, and maybe even some premium features down the line. That kind of diversification is absolutely crucial for building a company that's meant to last. All right, so now we get to the core of the long-term vision, because this was never really just about rewards. It's about data. You could say the Bitcoin is the bait, but the real prize is this absolute treasure trove of information. It's a pretty straightforward exchange when you think about it. Every time a user scans a receipt for, say, a few cents worth of Bitcoin, Crinkle captures all this perfectly structured data on what was bought, where, when, and for how much. Now imagine that information, but aggregated over millions and millions of users. It becomes incredibly valuable. So just how valuable are we talking? Well, the total market for shopper marketing. That's all the money brands spend trying to understand and influence what we buy, is over $100 billion. That is the massive pond that Crinkle is fishing in. But they're not trying to boil the ocean overnight. They're starting with a much more focused target. The existing market for apps that already do receipt scanning is worth over $2 billion, and it is growing fast. That's their beachhead. And their ambition is crystal clear. The goal is to capture a piece of that existing $2 billion market, which they believe can translate to $200 million in annual revenue within just 3 years. Pretty bold. This timeline really lays out the whole grand plan. Today, it's all about getting users, using Bitcoin as the magnet. Tomorrow, it's about building the asset, turning all those individual receipts into a massive, verifiable database of consumer behavior. But the ultimate goal, the future, is so much bigger. It's about becoming the trusted, foundational infrastructure that other companies can use to build brand new financial and AI products. And that final step really depends on this key concept, composable data. Honestly, the best way to think about it is like Lego blocks. Each verified piece of shopping data is a single block. Crinkl's goal is to create this giant, trusted box of these blocks that other developers can then use to build whatever they can dream up, from new financial models to way smarter AI assistants. Okay, so finally, let's circle all the way back to Bitcoin. Why not just offer cash or a gift card? Well, the choice to use Bitcoin wasn't random at all. It's a deeply strategic decision that basically fuels this entire model. The whole investment thesis really rests on three pillars that all work together. First, you've got Bitcoin acting as a viral growth engine. You combine that with a proven market fit, tapping into that existing habit of receipt scanning. And all of this serves the ultimate prize, building an incredibly valuable next-generation data asset.
And here's the key insight. Bitcoin just has this unique cultural pull. Offering a few cents in cash is forgettable. But offering a few cents of Bitcoin, that gets people talking. That gets them sharing, signing up their friends. This creates this powerful, organic word-of-mouth growth, which could dramatically lower how much the company has to spend on advertising.
And really, this quote just nails the whole vision. It's not positioning Crinkl as just another app on your phone. No, it's framing it as a bridge, a vital piece of infrastructure that connects the world of everyday shopping with the emerging crypto economy. So, we're left with this really fascinating thought. We started with a simple little receipt, but when you turn that receipt into a verifiable data point, and you do that millions and millions of times over, you create the foundation for something totally new. It really makes you wonder, could the future of finance actually be hiding in your shopping bag?